You're feeling it. We got married at 19 and have been married for 18 years. My wife is the love of my life and best friend. We do a lot of traveling, activities together, etc. We get along great, but like most couples have the occasional fight. Our marriage continues to get better every year. We have slept together 3 to 4 times a week. She went on a girls' trip and went to a bar drinking, and they both went back to a guy's house. She had been drinking and said her and another guy had been flirting, and then he kissed her. They ended up going to the bedroom and sleeping together. She confessed this all to me about 2 weeks after it happened and said she just couldn't live with herself. She said she didn't know what came over her, but after they had slept together, she regretted it and even told her friend she was going to tell me, and the friend said that's not a good idea because our friendship would be over. It's been about 3 weeks and we both want to work it out and make our marriage better. I know she is remorseful, shows regret, and she even told her mom about it. I'm devastated because I feel my wife and best friend has betrayed me. In my heart I believe she won't do it again, but it still gets to me and makes me depressed. I know I shouldn't, but I second guess myself and question everything. I know I did nothing wrong and this is on her, but I need to get over and forgive her so we can move forward in our marriage. After telling me she went and had a STD check and she is no longer hanging out with the friend, boundaries have been set to never be in a situation like that again, etc. Any advice would be appreciated, and if anything, I just needed to get this off my chest. Her and the friend left the bar and went to a house with several other people, girls and guys. As the night went on, everyone left, and she said the friend was in a room with another guy. It was her idea to not hang out with the friend anymore, but she takes full blame and not blaming alcohol for it. The guy was some stranger from the bar. They didn't exchange messages, email, etc. No contact was made after. I agree I should clarify I'm willing to try and work it out and not make any type of decision. I believe it's heading in the right direction. Anything I ask she tells me, and knows it's going to be a long road for me trusting her again, but it could be the end of my marriage also. Moving forward will take a lot of time and work from both of us. The reason why baffles me: we talk, do things together, and have slept together often. It was either the desire to be with someone else, feeling wanted by someone else, etc. She found out after it wasn't worth it, and how she was so selfish to put that over our marriage. She didn't blame the drinking but said she had been drinking. She also said that in that moment she felt young again, so maybe it was the missing out part. I agree, I don't think it was planned out, but at some point, probably at the house when everyone left, she knew better than to stay in that situation and didn't stop it from happening. I agree she had several stop signs that night she went right through. I wouldn't wish this mess on my worst enemy. She's disconnected from that friend. She didn't blame the friend but takes %100 of the responsibility for her actions. No more girls' trips, etc. As of now I'm working on my marriage but with no solid outcome. My wife is doing everything possible to make things right and keep things moving in the right direction. I'm having a more difficult time deciding what to do. Understanding true forgiveness is what I'm working on and trying to grasp. This experience has been eye-opening and put me at a crossroads of what to do. I've contemplated my pride and values. One value I'm having a hard time with is respect. My values will be compromised if I decide to work this out. So, I guess I need to sort all that out first. My wife is seeking individual counseling, and marriage counseling will begin in a few weeks. These past weeks since her confession have been the longest of my life. It's like walking through a never-ending fog, each day blending into the next, each night a restless battle with my own thoughts. Here I am, in the home we built together, surrounded by the echoes of a happier past, grappling with a reality I never saw coming. Every morning, I wake up to the same gnawing question: can we really salvage what's left? I've been turning it over in my mind, over and over, like a puzzle with missing pieces. She's remorseful, she's cut ties with the friend, she's open and transparent now, but the trust that took nearly 2 decades to build has crumbled in a matter of weeks. It's not just the betrayal that eats at me, it's the why of it all. She says it was a moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment, but that doesn't bring any solace. I've spent nights staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together where we went wrong. Was I too wrapped up in work? Did I miss the signs? But deep down, I know this isn't on me. It was her choice, her mistake. The more I reflect on it, the more I realize that this isn't just about forgiveness. It's about respect, about the foundation of our marriage. How can I respect her the same way? How can I respect myself if I just let this slide? These are the questions that haunt me, that make me question if moving forward together is even possible. I've been weighing my options, considering what's best for our son, for me, for us as a family. The thought of breaking up our home, of stepping into the unknown, is terrifying. But so is the thought of staying in a marriage shadowed by doubt and betrayal. She's suggested counseling, and part of me thinks it's worth a try. But there's another part, a louder part, that wonders if it's just a futile attempt to fix something irreparably broken. Can a few sessions untangle the web of hurt and mistrust? Can they erase that night and everything it represents? I'm standing at a crossroads, torn between the life we had and the uncertainty of what lies ahead. It's a decision that weighs heavily on me, one that I never thought I'd have to make. In my heart, I still love her, but love alone isn't enough to mend the cracks in our foundation. Divorce, there will be pain, there will be loss, but there will also be a chance for a new beginning, whether together or apart. It's a daunting path, but I know I need to choose. For my son, for myself, for the peace of mind that's been eluding me since that fateful confession. In the end, it comes down to what I can live with, what I can forgive. Can I look past this and rebuild, or is this the end of the road for us? Time will tell, but for now, I'm just trying to make it through each day, one step at a time, hoping for clarity amidst the chaos of my thoughts. My comment: you have to end a relationship to have a new one. It is okay to move on, sometimes that is not emphasis enough. Story 2. My spouse and I have been together for 5 years. I just turned 30 and he is turning 34. We currently have 2 children together. Currently an almost 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. We took a break for 8 months in 2020 due to him not bringing in enough income, which caused a lot of tension in the household, especially for me as a first-time mom. I was figuring out who I was as a mother and I was resentful that I was paying all the bills because he just couldn't get it together or keep a job. We fought a lot, but he has always been an amazing dad. During the break we both saw other people. I got pregnant by an ex after a one-night stand but terminated the pregnancy very early on. He claimed he never had relations with anyone the whole time, which he did call and text me every day during the break, crying, literally stalking me, asking to fix our family, but I wasn't interested. My intuition told me otherwise, that he had to have had slept with someone, but I never had proof. We got back together after 8 months of co-parenting and working on things. We got pregnant with our second son 7 months later. He got a great job in another state, so we moved here from NJ to SC and into a new house. I don't work, I'm a stay-at-home mom, which is great because he can finally provide and take that stress off of me. We have 2 acres of land, space, everything we ever dreamed of and talked about for our children when we were living in a small apartment. Well, 2 weeks ago during a deep talk he admitted he had slept with someone he met from an old job during our break. I was upset that he lied for 2 years when I was upfront about my one-night stand and pregnancy with someone else. I asked why he had lied. He said he was scared and that it meant nothing to him, that he just wanted his family back. So, I let it go. 2 days later his mom calls and we find out the woman actually got pregnant and had a baby who is almost 2, which when I spoke with her, she confirmed that everything he told me was true. They knew each other from work, were cool but didn't know each other on a deep level. She said that she gave him rides home a few times. When I put him out, I also took my car, and that she invited him to her house to hang out one night while her oldest son was away for the weekend, and that they never were in a relationship. She said she came onto him, as she had liked him. They did use a condom, but they had slept together again the same night and didn't use one. She confirmed the baby was conceived on our break, and she claims he didn't know about the baby. She said she chose to keep the baby and raise it herself. She is a nice woman and told me it was one time and that I should not end my family over it. That she only said something because she saw his mother at a gas station, recognized her from Facebook and thought she should know. But that she does not want anything from him, no child support, nothing. That she only wants her son to know his dad if he's up for it. My issue is I don't know if I can handle an outside child regardless of if he was conceived on a break. I gave my spouse 2 years to process what I did and have a choice on if we wanted to reconcile for our son, yet I've only had 2 weeks to process a lie and now a whole child. I am hurt, I am conflicted, and I am embarrassed. Yes, I did something similar, but I had control over the situation. No one is popping up saying we have a kid together. I handled it discreetly. I feel like he, on the other hand, could have been a little more careful, as he does not have control over a woman's body, and you were backed up from no bonding for 8 months. Like, what were you thinking? But yet, here we are. What's done is done. And although I love children, I just feel that this baby will be a reminder of a very bad time in our life. I don't want to be the reason he doesn't step up for this baby if he is his. As I have mentioned, this may be a deal breaker for me if the DNA test come back his. Baby looks just like him. I'm almost positive it's his, which is driving him crazy because our kids are used to a 2-parent household and they are dad crazy. He says our family breaking up will break him, and I know it will hurt my babies too, but I want him to do right regardless of whatever I decide to do. It's just very sad that I thought we were on the right path as we were planning to get married in a few months, which was the reason we were even having deep talks and putting everything out on the table in the first place. And now this. We moved on in a way only to be haunted by things done years ago. Although there is no rule book to life, I'm having so many regrets about the past and what we should have done. I'm just so confused. I love him so much that it hurts, and I know he is my soulmate. He even says he would have raised the baby as his own if I had decided to keep my baby from a one-night stand because he loves me, but I told him we will never know if that is true because I do not currently have a baby outside of us. He is asking me to still move forward, but I don't know if I am strong enough to do this. I think you missed the part where I said he had no income, and due to that we were fighting a lot in front of our child. No one breaks up their family because they miss old times. Or at least I didn't. I didn't sleep with my ex until almost 8 months later, and it wasn't because I sought him out. I ran into him through a mutual friend, so I couldn't have been that pissed, or else it would have happened much sooner and not at the very end of the break. The break was intended to get our crap together, not sleep with other people, but crap happens. I'm not sure where he developed that theory. I clearly explained the reason for the break. I started a family with intent of us both bringing things to the table to care for our family. I stuck it out paying for everything with no assistance. Everything we had come from me working doubles and triples, being away from my son, and it was a lot on me while trying to navigate just having my first baby. I was resentful, angry, tired, exhausted, and yes, had I lied to him, I feel it would be a different outcome. There is always a double standard when it comes to women. I wasn't trying to paint myself in the best light. I told him because he needed to know, especially if we were starting over. I'd rather it come from me than someone else, or have that on my conscience. I could have easily not said anything as he did and took away his choice to move forward with reconciliation, as he did mine. But I chose not to do that. And would I have wanted him to convince her? Yes, speaking from a selfish and hurt place, but as a woman morally, no. It wouldn't have been the right thing to do if she didn't want to. Nobody cheated. We weren't together for almost a year. I was 4 weeks, early enough to take the pill. My body, my choice. You seem to be the only one who gets it or makes any type of sense. People are fixated on the wrong thing. It doesn't take a year plus to find and maintain a job. He needed fire lit underneath his butt. And why would that be fair to a woman to support a family that took 2 to make? Alone. Otherwise, I'd still be doing most of the providing. He is a regional manager for a low-income housing company, and is doing very well at keeping it together and providing for our family since reconciliation. It was years ago, and we have since learned from the mistakes, as you have. People on here just seem to be so perfect and have life so figured out so much that they can sit and judge people behind a screen. If you don't have any real advice, because bother commenting? I didn't know I needed to add literally every single detail of our life in the post to get adequate advice, but losing his family definitely motivated him. He would tell you himself. There was no dry spell. He simply had been getting and losing, quitting jobs his entire life, never being consistent with anything because that's what he saw from his own mother growing up. He never had a woman care enough to push him to be better or want more until he met me. I helped him as much as I could. I've always been understanding of that. But I expected certain expectations from him once we decided to be a couple and once we started a family. He had been doing well and reverted back to old ways due to being in the wrong environment after we had our son. We are not from a good area, Camden, NJ to be exact. One of the most dangerous cities in the country. Men from our area struggle in ways that some people will never understand or relate to. Nonetheless, unacceptable. So, if that makes me the bad guy, so be it. I didn't have mommy and daddy's money to run to or depend on like some people. All I had was my spouse and expected him to pull his weight. That's not fair to me to carry a family in my back. So, whether he was making an effort, if not, it doesn't matter. It clearly wasn't enough if I decided to separate. But we worked hard to get to where we are, regardless of who sees it or not. We're 2 human beings. We aren't perfect. Mistakes were made. And we didn't have an agreement to see or not see other people. Our agreement was to separate and get our crap together. Whatever that consisted of. Co-parent at best. We had no idea if we would get back together or not. So, neither was considered in the choices when we made them. Had he not done a 360 and showing he'd do better and be a team player, I would have had to stay separated. All I ever wanted was for him to meet me halfway and apply himself. He's very intelligent. People act like you're not supposed to have a say-so or opinion in the performance of your spouse when it's affecting your household. Like if you're okay with taking care of everything, that's your choice. But as a new first-time mom, bills don't stop. It got stressful. I wanted a partner, not another kid. I'm glad that he was able to change his life around after reconciliation. Now I just have to decide if I can handle the repercussions and work through them. Lack of motivation. Not applying himself. Not being consistent. He just seemed lost. He either would lose it or would just quit if something got hard without thinking about how it would affect me or our household. Which I always tried to help. I always made excuses and picked up the slack. It didn't really affect me because I made good money and could support whatever I needed to on my own. But after my first son, I couldn't accept that behavior anymore and had to show him that having a family was serious. I felt like I had 2 kids instead one. We split right before my son's first birthday. Him being a stay-at-home dad wasn't necessarily the agreement. It just happened by default because he couldn't keep a job. Just like us relocating to SC, I am now a stay-at-home mom by default. But I still bring in income to where if he's ever in a bind, we are great on money because my income is being saved. There's a big difference. Back then I had no one to rely on, not even him, if I fell short. Had that been the case, we wouldn't have separated or went what we went through because my mind would have been at ease, the way that his mind is at ease right now. But that wasn't the case. So that point being made about a wife not supporting the family and staying home is kind of irrelevant. Doesn't apply. Lol, but I see where he's going with it. I don't see what the child's mother would get out of lying to me. I don't think she cares enough to be in cahoots with his mother and him just to help him keep his family together. Not only that, but his mother and I don't even get along, like at all. She is the jealous mother-in-law type who wants to be first priority in her son's life. So trust me when I say, if it was lies, I would definitely know. She'd have a field day. She definitely would not help to save his family. If anything, she called in hopes that this would break us up. Also, I started the conversation that we had when he admitted to it, not him. I'd feel that way if he started the convo and confessed, but it was a conversation that naturally happened. My kids are very happy they're not exposed to anything. That statement had nothing to do with anything some of you are really reaching. You're speaking of something that happened 2 years ago, not the present. Never said I didn't respect his duties as a parent. I said I didn't know if I wanted to stay or leave. That doesn't mean I didn't respect them. As I stated, I wanted him to do the right thing regardless of what I decided to do. I'm not thinking anything. I filled that role and now it is his turn. We are a team, nobody is the sole anything. I just found out about not only his encounter, but a possible baby. He's over what I did because he had 2 years to heal and I gave him a choice, when it happened, to continue the relationship or not. I gave him the information he needed to know, whether it would hurt him or not, for him to make the best decision for him. I didn't get that, so of course, I'm going to be bent out of shape about it. If he would have told me he slept with someone around the time that it happened, when we reconciled, like I did, I probably wouldn't be as bent out of shape and shocked about a possible baby. But no, I literally got hit with 2 things at once. A lie and a possible baby. That's literally the point I was trying to get across, whether it came off vague or not. It's my first time ever reaching out on a forum. I usually take advice from family and friends, but wanted advice from people who maybe have been through something similar or just unbiased opinions and perspectives. But the more I read these responses, the more it makes me realize I have a great man and he's worth working through this unfortunate event with. We both worked hard to get where we are for our kids together, and I would choose him 1,000 times. I respect him as a father. I don't respect him as a liar. My comment: you either accept him being part of your family or you don't. It's going to take a while for you to accept his betrayal. If you don't, you are choosing a one-way path to divorce. Story 3. I've been married for about 30 years. It's been about 3 years since D-Day and I'm the unfaithful husband. About a month after D-Day, I had an awakening. It just suddenly hit me hard. I had an emotional breakdown. I felt the pain I caused my wife, and I experienced a pain myself that I thought I was having a heart attack. I started in full disclosure to my wife. The first year after D-Day was physically rough with all the rage, sometimes physical, but I didn't have any problem taking it all in, because I could see the pain in her rage and I was glad she could release her anger. The second year after D-Day there was still frequent episodes of extreme rage, less physical, but still the same intensity. However, it was getting harder and harder for me to endure these rage episodes. Because I saw the change in how she expressed her anger, I started seeing less and less of the pain, which transformed into hatred. I've talked about it in my IC, but my counselor told me that he could not help the recovery of my marriage because my wife refused counseling. He helped me on my own recovery and guided me on what I could do to help my wife heal. But since D-Day she insisted that there is no future of us, no hope in hell for reconciliation. She just want me to pay for my crime for the rest of my life, by means of staying together so that she can treat me like a doormat every time she feels a trigger. Since D-Day until now, we're separating under the same roof with no intimacy of any kind. She wouldn't even let me touch her even when she needed help with something. The third year has been very difficult for me because the rage episodes with all the shaming, name-calling, belittling, mocking, berating are for the purpose of making me feel as horrible as possible. Even my wife admitted so. She told me she has no feeling for me anymore. She only has hatred, and she wants me to feel shameful all the time as a form of punishment for my betrayal, because low-life selfish bum cheating bastards deserve life sentence of being shamed, don't deserve to be treated as human. Just a bit of background. My wife has always been dominant with some verbal abusive behavior in the past, but it's gotten much worse now that she feels entitled to be abusive. For the last 3 years, I've been taking it all in with the hope that one day she will change her mind and agree to marriage counseling to reconcile. About a year ago, my counselor advised me that I need to consider parting ways for my mental well-being because he could see how stressful I've become, and my wife seemed to be very adamant on not reconciliation. But the remorse is eating me up. I really wanted to help her heal, and the guilt of my affair breaking up the marriage is just too much. I couldn't bring myself to it. But lately I find that it's been getting harder and harder for me to endure it. I'm just getting too exhausted. I feel like a complete failure, and I feel I'm dying slowly inside, because deep down, I think I know the only way to help us moving forward is to part ways. Initially after D-Day she was devastated. She didn't want to do anything, so I took care of the house, all the cleaning and cooking. And since then, I still take care of everything in the house, all housework and cooking, because I work from home. Furthermore, she said she doesn't want to kick me out of the house because she needs to be able to relieve her anger on me whenever she feels a trigger, and I committed a horrible crime, so I deserve a life sentence of punishment. I was hoping the anger eventually subsides, but hasn't yet. I'm not looking for empathy. There's never a good reason for any kind of betrayal. I have true remorse for what I've done, and I've been trying to help her heal. I've begged her to see a therapist to help her heal, not to help reconciliation because she doesn't want it. I just wanted her to recover from the pain, but she refused to do so. I am accountable for what I've done, so I'm willing to accept whatever decision she wants to make, including divorce. It's just difficult that we're sort of in limbo, not divorcing but also not reconciling. Or hitting me. This is the issue that's making me exhausted. I've tried to talk to her about it but still haven't got much success because she indicated that she has the rights to abuse me any way she wants to. Her argument is that unfaithful spouses are criminals, so they deserve to be punished by the victims, the betrayed spouse, for their crimes. My therapist also had told me many times that we are living in a very unhealthy environment, but I just can't get past the enormous guilt to initiate the divorce myself. My wife's actions are abusive behaviors which would need to be addressed. However, she squashed it down, saying that I just wanted to avoid being reminded of the crime I commit. I believe it's a reason why she refused because all counselors, therapists would not support her actions of punishment. My comment: I'm going to say something that might set you free. She already had rage before you ever cheated. She was already violent and abusive, and that is rage. And of course, rage comes from fear, and it often comes from childhood stuff and can't even be resolved. I know you have no leverage because you cheated, but she needs to get an anger management for starters. But now her rage about this is overshadowing her original rage. But no, her rage did not start with you cheating. She isn't capable of getting past your betrayal. Divorce her. That's your only choice now, given that she only has you there to abuse you. This is up to you to take the action to divorce her.